What's up? Crowie here, Sparky Coach Podcast coming at ya, talking about admin today and talking in particular to you. Admin. I know everyone's like, get this guy off. Probably everyone's listening because it's such an interesting topic, right? And I think I want to just share you a few tips that have helped me in my administration journey. Obviously, the interesting thing is, as a business owner, you probably just got to where you got by being awesome on the tools. I know my journey started as I was the best second-year apprentice in the world. I remember I started my apprenticeship at the same time as this other guy, and I was like the biggest kook. I'm not even kidding. I come from like a dad who didn't fix anything. The only tools were like my grandpa's like in our house, and I reckon there was like an 8-volt Ryobi drill from, it would have been Mitre 10 back in that day. Like Bunnings wouldn't have even existed. And just like if something was broken, we would just get someone else to do it. It was so I didn't grow up around that, like tools, sawing. Those people that are naturally good at stuff. That wasn't my story. I sort of had to learn on the go. I got good mainly because I'm super competitive, and that probably helps me a lot in life. But I just don't like being bad at things. So I was like, I've got to get good at this because I suck, and I'm aware that I suck here. So I got to be a really good second-year apprentice. I got to the second-year apprentice slump. I reckon every apprentice goes through a slump at about 2.5 years in. And I know I did, because I was like, man, I'm making all the money. My boss is doing nothing. Nothing. I'm doing everything. And I remember just thinking I was the actual bee's knees. And, I was just red hot, probably not so much, to be honest. Looking back, it's funny. You think you're heaps good, but it wasn't. And then even when you finish your time, you think you're heaps good. And I know I thought I was heaps good. And 5 years down the track, I was looking back at myself, going like, "Wow, I wasn't that good." And when I got 30, I was like, I reckon I'm pretty good now. Like pretty comfortable in my skin now. Pretty onto it. The processes are good, but it's not until I reckon you're about 10 years out, you're super good, but anything before that, not discounting anyone within that realm or reason, but it's like, that's the goal, right? Hopefully you look back and be like, oh yeah, I've gotten better at my job. And you want to look back at your admin journey and be the same thing. Oh yeah, I've gotten better. I used to absolutely suck at this. I was staring at the screen. And I want to share a couple of things that have really helped my admin journey because yeah, like I said, you get into the business because you're probably like super good on the tools, and maybe you got some existing relationships through whatever realm. Maybe it's a sporting club, maybe it's a church, maybe it's a bar mitzvah. I don't even know. Like maybe you're just super connected and you sort of started a business in your hometown. I don't know. But you would have started a business because you're awesome, and more often than not, you get these awesome tradies end up in admin roles because, let's face it, the larger the business, the more admin. The admin doesn't actually go anywhere. It's actually, it's like the dishes. It just piles up. And the thing is, if you're feeding 2 people, you've got X amount of dishes. If you're feeding 10 people, you've got Y amount of dishes. And I know what you're thinking. Year 10 algebra, come at me. X and Y. What is X, what is Y? But so the more people, the more dishes. The more staff, field staff, billable resources, organically and naturally, the more administration work that you're going to have to do. And you can put the admin work to sort of, everything from reconciling to quoting to job notes to scripts to processes to measuring your billable hours to building your price book and all this kind of stuff. Right? There's like 100 things probably. So I think the thing that helped me a lot was you have to rid yourself of the mundane admin tasks as quickly as you possibly can. As quickly as you possibly can, right? So this is interesting. We're just launching right now our Sparky VA package, and you can reach out to us and go, I want the VA package, preferably in capitals or some passive aggressive tone, and we're going to take all that back-end administration work off you and present it to you. And it's an absolute no-brainer. Like, I actually can't think of anyone this isn't good for. So please reach out about that. But like, one of the first things you want to get off your chest, off your shoulders, out of your headspace is the mundane admin work that anyone can do. And it's so funny because, like, you know, you think about your sort of growth as a business owner. So the general rule of thumb is you get, like, you're pretty good at your job and you start your business and everyone's like, oh, you got to work with this guy or girl, they're awesome. And then you know, you get 2 or 3 or 4 weeks booked out, and then you hire an apprentice or a tradie or whatever. That's going to depend on, like, sort of what style work you do. And then you hire someone and you do more work. So it's funny that you're not scared to offload the thing that you're actually good at. But when it comes to admin, there's a lot of fear associated. Like, oh, no one could ever do what I do in the office. Like, it's like, you're not even trained in the office. You're not even educated in the office. You haven't even done any training in the office. Like, more than likely, you know, maybe you have. Maybe you're like, oh, I've done training, Crowie. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you have. Whatever. But like, you don't hold on to the thing you're not actually good at. Like, and I think organically your job description is moving toward, hopefully, when you do some large quotes and you want to find staff, keep staff, find clients, keep clients. That's probably what you're moving toward. And that's awesome. And then you can choose whether you hand that to someone else or not. It's not even like, you don't have to make those decisions yet. You just got to make the decision that, what's the 5-year plan? You want to probably have a beer on an acreage, watching the sunset, or, you know, watching the water, or watching the river, or watching your kid on a motorbike, or I don't even know. Like, it's probably something pretty simple that involves time and family. So you want to make sure, I want that. That's what I want. So you're not going to get that when you're on a computer doing mundane admin stuff at 10 o'clock every night. You're not going to do it. Like, you're not going to get that when you sit in front of a computer and stare aimlessly. So my first tip to administration lordish behavior is to get rid of the stuff that you don't need to do. I guarantee it. The expert stuff you would think would be making sense of a price book, very, very important, and also applying that price book to real life, very, very important. So just because you have a price book doesn't mean it's correct. It needs to be cross-referenced to how long you think that job is going to take. Classic example is this. You rock up to a PowerPoint PowerPoint when you're quoting a new build, predictable. So anything predictable makes sense to have a price book for, right? So it's predictable, we know what we're in for, and that is $120, $100, $110, whatever, like something not too dissimilar to that. But PowerPoint at a renovation with, you know, with noggins, with gyprock on the wall or with paneling on the wall, it's at Betty's house, is significantly harder with no roof access, and you can't get under the floor. And, you know, this is like the stuff happens. So that price will change. That price book can't just be put through one filter to be like, this is correct, because this has so many chops and turns and tangents and back and forth that it could go either way. So that's when your experience is actually needed. But in another sense, your experience is not needed. So getting the invoices prepared, experience not needed, as long as it's scripted. Getting the billable hours measured, experience not needed, unless it's scripted, right? Like, you've got to script everything. So we want to take everything off people's hands into the script and just put it on your desk so it's done. So one of the first things I remember, like, the first time when I first handed my invoices over, this is actually a little bit embarrassing to say, but I hope it helps someone out there. I remember when I first handed my invoices over, they were taking me 2 days to do. 2 days. Don't forget, you say, what the hell? Like, what on earth? And I was like looking at text messages, I was getting emails, I was on cardboard, I was on voice recordings, you know, just stuff. Like, I think I had a job management system that was partially there, that wasn't used, that had some dust on it, and I was like, get the dust off this thing. So it's like, it was crazy. And you look at it and go, like, first and foremost, my encouragement to someone is get a job management system. The main job management systems are ServiceMate or Simpro. There really is no substitute for Simpro. Like, I don't really care what you think. That's just the facts. So, like, you know, it just does so much more stuff than everything else. And is it expensive? Yeah, but so is your labor putting together stuff that the other job management systems don't measure. So it's pretty important. Anyone that's on that, anyone that's like we do ServiceMate training and Simpro training in our course, and our ServiceMate trainer has gone to Simpro. So that might even that might even say enough. Not saying it doesn't have its place, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to do something, do it properly, you might want to just get it done once and done for all, right? So once again, you guys know how to roll. There's no essential one size fits all. But I remember my invoice is taking like 2 days, and I remember thinking, no one on earth could handle this because I'm trying to make sense. I'm like freaking Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting with all these like information coming at me, all these numbers going like, where was I on January 1st? What materials did I use? What happened here? What happened there? What's going on? But at least Matt Damon was actually good. I was just like, I'm not sending variations because we've missed them. I can't remember what happened to that job. I can't bill that because I didn't have that conversation. I can't bill that because it was February last year. I just, like just psycho stuff. And I remember just like handing it over, and yes, like I remember sitting in it going, oh yeah, I don't know why I made such a big deal of that. And the first day, like, it took like just, okay, follow this script, do this, and then they prepared it. And I remember looking at it going like, oh, now it takes me 1 to 2 hours. What used to take me 16 hours, now once it's prepared, I've just got to look at, make sure I cross-reference it, make sure it hits a certain net profit, make sure it hits a certain gross profit, make sure that the day efficiency is being measured, the job efficiency being measured, make sure I got my head around like, and I used to love that because my appetite for retention of like numbers retention is heavy, but you have to get good at this stuff because it's like, this is your money. This is your money either going somewhere, you're either making it and going, let's do that again, or you're not making it and be like, we need to either not do that again or change it, right? So it's like, so often business owners just like miss that stuff as it goes through them, and it's all in front of you. It's all in front of you. It's all in front of you. Chances are what you need is right in front of you. The information is right in front of you. But if we're too busy to stop and slow down and get that information, it puts a lot of pressure on our bank account, on our cash flow, on our cash, and it's like, where's the cash or where's the cash flow? And it's not like the cash flow is not the thing. You can send all your invoices out. You can get up there. You can send invoices for the next month in advance. That's not going to fix your cash flow because the cash was never there in the first place. So it's like, it's so interesting, but the detail was in the job. And the job was right in front of you, but did you stop and smell the roses? So we want to basically get that, throw it in front of you, measure everything, assume absolutely nothing, because when we assume, you know what happens when you assume? You make an ass out of you and me. So we want to basically get that information to us and then make sure before it gets through us, it's gone through a filter. And it's a filter, did it work, did it not work? Should I do it again, should I not do it again? Should I send that person? Should I not send that person? I sat with someone the other day, and what they call heat pumps down in Van Diemen's Land in Tasmania, and we call them splitties or split systems if you're proper. And and they were like, oh, I feel like the guys aren't like, they're not doing it in the time frame allowed. So it's like, okay, it was two things: is the time frame enough? And do they know what they're doing? So is there a process for them? And you can laugh at that. But, oh, man, I bash those splitties out. But, like, it's if you're not doing it every day, do they have the right tools? Is the process correct? Is the price correct? Like, that's pretty much what you're asking yourself. There's a site issue and a numbers issue, and they both have to be resolved, right? And then you've got the site issue presents a process issue, but it also presents a person issue. So it's like, well, you can do it in 3 hours, but I might be not as good as you. I might do it in 5 hours, right? So it's really interesting to nut out. And that's, I guess, where like what I like to do, because you sit with people not on a black and white. We're not looking at a number. We are. But we're looking at a process. We are looking at that too. But we're also looking at a person. So looking at a person, and numbers, and a process, and we're combining the whole thing, and we're making decisions based on the information we have. But if you're not receiving the information, you're not able to make decisions because you don't know what you're talking about, and now you're continuing down a path that you don't want to go down, and it's going to lead you in a realm of darkness, not the darkness. I believe in a thing called love. That's like there's a time to be, what a time to be alive. It's going to lead you down the garden path of no enlightenment when you want maximum enlightenment. So my encouragement to you is, first and foremost, rid yourself of the stuff you don't have to do. Nothing will bog you down like mundane admin tasks. And please reach out to us if you want to jump on that package, right? On that as well, the second thing I would do is I would set my day up well. So 2 tips today. The first thing is get rid of your mundane admin stuff. The second tip is set your day up well. So I was sitting there the other day, and Mondays is like our building stuff day, and not physical building, spreadsheet building. And I remember sitting there, writing all the stuff out, and I think the biggest thing I like to do in the morning of an office day, get myself a coffee, because I love coffee, and I'm sipping it and I'm planning my day. So what am I going to do from 9 to 11, from 11 till 1, from 1 till 2, from 2 till 3, from 3 till 5? And does the carpet match the drapes? Does what I want to do match up with the time I've got to do the things that I want to do? And of the things that I want to do, am I doing the most important thing on that list? So it's like, there's nothing quite like there's nothing quite like needing to do something, but all of a sudden you're doing some obscure thing that doesn't really matter, that could be done in 6 months' time, right? It's just like, it's procrastination 101. So it's like you basically need to set your day up well, and it starts with a day plan, working out what's important, working out a time slot for that, not being interrupted during those deep work slots or those focus slots, whatever you want to call them, and literally like throw your phone in the bin. Like if you're too important to let a phone call go for 45 minutes or an hour, you might actually just be too important. That's probably the facts. You might need to change structure, change pace, right? So 2 admin tips. First one, get rid of the stuff you don't need to do. Second one, set your day up like an absolute lord, and you'll be thanking yourself. And, once you set your day up, you recognize what the objective of the day is. I'm going to get these 4 quotes out, these 2 things, and that invoice I've been putting off. Cool. Get those things out. Once that's out, relax. Do your thing. All right. That's it. See you guys soon.